What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Unscripted, a show that brings you professionals from all walks of life, touching on their backstory, their mindset, and how they navigate through adversity and opposition, while providing you practical tips that might help you on your path. I'm your host, two-time Olympian, Olympic bronze medalist, author, and motivational speaker, Hakeem Haynes. Now, let's get into the episode. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Unscripted. This week on the show, I'm joined by the 2022 Grey Cup champion, offensive lineman Shane Richards joins me on the show. I've been watching and knowing this guy, man, for a while now. Like going back to the day he stepped into the building of my old high school in Calgary, Crescent Heights High School. Shout out to the Cowboys, Cowboys Nation. If you are a quarterback or running back, you want this guy in front of you. I mean, Shane now is what, 6'7", 6'8", 300 pounds plus of solidness. Man, Shane is a graduate of Oklahoma State University, where he played 2 years, received All-American honors on the field and academically. In 2019, he was the first overall pick, number one in the 2019 CFL draft. He was selected by the Toronto Argonauts, which he is still a part of that organization now. He's also the owner of Four Corners Wingstop based in Calgary. I had a great conversation with Shane, and we got into a whole bunch of different topics, really go into depth about him explaining some of the situations and his mindset and the mentality that he developed over the years. We have familiar viewpoints and similar viewpoints on a lot of things and share similar experience, especially the transition from Jamaica to Canada. In this episode, we talk about the transition from Jamaica to Canada. We talk about the lessons he learned as a youth, his introduction to football, backstory behind how and why he chose to go to New Mexico Military Institute, his experience at New Mexico Military Institute, experience, stories, lessons. Look, if you've ever been to a junior college before, yeah, these stories gonna bring back some memories for you. We talk about his Oklahoma State University football experience and the redshirt year that shifted his mindset on and off the field. We talk about what it felt like to be selected with the number one overall pick in the 2019 draft. And I think it's also important to let you guys know too that, man, Shane is still very new to football, right? Like he only really started playing in high school, and it really hasn't been that long when you think about how early people start playing football. So it's actually really, really remarkable what he's been able to do, man, in such a short period of time. We also talk about why the 2020 pandemic was the best thing for him from a physical standpoint and one of the toughest times for him from a mental standpoint away from the field. We talk about how Four Corners Wingstop came to life. We talk about work-life balance and why information is the most important thing in football, business, and growth, and so much more. If you have been watching Shane over the years, this is a episode you are truly going to enjoy. If you don't know who Shane is, well, great. This is a great introduction to who he is, and we really go in depth about a bunch of different things, man. Before we get into the episode, do me a favor. If you're listening to this in audio form, whether Apple Podcasts, whether Google, whether Spotify, please do me a huge favor and leave a rating and review of the show. If you're listening to it on your phone and you have the Apple Podcasts app, man, just scroll down to the bottom and it'll give you the option to leave a rating and review of the show. It takes less than 5 minutes, and it would be greatly, greatly appreciated. If you are on Spotify, you can leave a rating. You can leave us a rating on Spotify. It takes less than 3 minutes. That would be greatly, greatly appreciated as well. If you prefer watching your podcast, we got a new unscripted YouTube podcast channel that is up and running, and we're trying to get our subscribers back up to where it once was. So if you prefer watching the visual side of the show, then just type in Unscripted with Hakeem Haynes on YouTube. It will also be in the show notes, but don't forget to subscribe over there as well before you go. So with all that being said, enjoy this week's episode with Shane Richards. We could talk about that forever, bro. But, man, again, I said I appreciate you taking the time, bro. We have a lot of dots to connect between you and me from a lot of behind the scenes stuff that I know about you. But I want to start here, bro. I start the podcast off the same way in season 4, man, and that's with gratitude. It's the way I live life, and if you aren't grateful for what you have in life, man, you're kind of missing the gift of life. So, give me 3 things you're grateful for today, bro.
3 things I'm grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
First, I gotta start with breath. There's a lot of people that just don't wake up in the morning. So I gotta be grateful for that and thankful for that. Secondly, obviously, I mean the opportunity and like this position I'm in right now. Not just even as like a football player, because to be honest, I consider that like the second half of me. But just like to be able to like think the way I think and operate in just the way I operate and see how many people see what I do and ask questions how I do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very grateful for that. And then and the last thing I probably say, just like to add on to that, just my uniqueness, because that's kind of what's led me to, figuring all of this out to keep it a stat. Like just not being the same as a lot of people around me. And it's like buying into that uniqueness, and that's kind of what's allowed me to do a lot of things that a lot of people question.
Mm-hmm. Yo, there. And we're gonna get into a bunch of that, man. But again, a few things we gotta touch on. I'm not a man that's fluffy. I like to get into it, yo. I remember, bro, when I was coming back from junior college, right? When I went to Barton Community College. And I remember I came back when I was making the transition to go to Alabama, and Mr. Rose, him and I had a conversation. He says, yo, there's a guy here that is in the same position as you. I'm like, okay, expound on that a little bit more. He's like, yo, he's Jamaican born just like you. I said, he's a Yachty. He's like, yeah. He said he moved to Canada just like you. He plays football just like you, but he's raw, right? I don't think he's figured out the game yet, but he can play at the next level, right? So I've been watching your career for a while now, man, but now we get to have a conversation and we can connect some of these dots, man, but we got to go back a little bit, bro. Walk me back to those days, Andrew, Kingston, Jamaica, man. What do you remember most about those early days growing up, man?
In Jamaica?
Mm-hmm.
Family, a lot of family. Like I have a massive family. Like, hey, yo, when I say I have a massive family, I have a massive family. Like I can't even count on how many hands. I can't even count I can't count your hands and my hands. How many cousins I have? Right?
One of those.
And yeah. Like 13 on one, 13 aunts and uncles on one side, and like a 9 on the other. They each got like 2 or 3 of their own. You know what I'm saying? Now they all got 2 or 3 of their own. So a lot of like family is just that's probably one of the biggest thing I remember from Jamaica. Now not only that, it's just like this impact of the family is kind of crazy. It's just like that's how big the family was. It was the coolest thing. I'm not gonna lie, it was the coolest thing. You don't even see that much, but when we came together, as far as like say Christmas or like birthdays or let's like get-togethers, that type of stuff, bro. I'm talking. We shut down the whole block.
Yeah,
like the whole block is related to somebody on this family, and it's crazy because they all like we all grew up together. We all like went through all that together. So that was one of the biggest things for me. Also sports. I mean, I started off with cricket. That was my first initial like entry to the game, cricket and soccer. And then now, not only that, my dad was a cop, so that played a different role as far as growing up in Jamaica. My dad was a cop, and just like all the different experiences you have as a kid in Jamaica is like next to none. You know what I'm saying? Growing up on the farm with my cousins at my grandma's house on like, and you wake up at 5 a.m, all you smell is this mildew. And you know what I'm saying? Like you have like 13 of your cousins sleeping in like 2 beds, and you pull up and grandma got like breakfast for everybody.
Yo,
you know what I'm saying? Everybody, bro. Everybody. Right? You don't think about that type of stuff, but it's like now like being older, you're like, bro, how did that even work? You know what I'm saying? Like, so,
Because when you think about it, bro, it's like, like my grandfather used to call him Farmer Brown, right? And I never understood. That's the other thing with Jamaica too, is there's a lot of pet names. You know what I'm saying? Like you, a man, a man, like a man might have 6 different nicknames, and you're just not sure why. But I used to call my grandfather Farmer Brown because he had a farm, and he was. But it was the one thing that I always appreciated was like, if you're known in the community, people are always gonna look out for you, right?
oh,
And
yeah,
it's just off of the love. Now,
that's
this is the other thing Mr. Rose told me. So I did know your dad was a cop, right? But from that perspective, bro, police get a tough rap sometimes. Law enforcement's period. What was that growing up like for you? Did you get people talking to you about that, saying different things about that? And what were some of the things that you saw from your dad? Because that's a tough profession to be in, man.
yeah. I thankfully no, not really, because I mean, like they dropped us off to school every morning and they picked us up. Like we
Yeah.
would stay at my mom worked at NHD, so we'll go to NHD and stay in the nursery there until like after work. And like it wasn't. You kind of just have to. I just peeped how my dad moved for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Like he couldn't really explain a lot of things that was going on because again we're kids. You know what I'm saying? You can't break that down for your kids at the same time. But in the same sense, like I've always been a very observant cat. So it's like I could always just like take in when like certain scenarios or like we're driving through a certain town, like a certain part of town, and he'll tell us certain things like, "Yo, just keep your head down," or like,
Yo.
you know what I'm saying? Keep your head down, or like I do remember this one time we were driving through. I forgot what part of the country it was, but we had stopped. We had gotten stopped at a roadblock. I don't know if it was a police roadblock or it was a gang roadblock, but we got stopped. I do know my pops was he was a detective, so he drove an undercover the entire time.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't get pointed out like that on a reg. However, like you can figure out what car is undercover based on license plate in Jamaica at the time, at least.
Mm-hmm.
So you could tell, but not everyone would know, right? Well, I do remember this one time we were going through. I got know what community it was, but we got stopped by the roadblock, and he had said, "Keep your head down," and he had also gotten like this ribbon, and they put the ribbon on like the antenna for the car, just to signify something. At the time, I have no clue what it was, but I do remember that was a legit thing, right? But like just picking up on a lot of his behaviors and a lot of his like mannerisms, it's more about like, and I still use some of those things today. That's kind of why I kind of went into like sociology. Like that was what I wanted to do coming out of college, in some sense. But it's just more picking up more of his mannerisms, like how he handles some of those situations, because not every situation can be handled the same type of rudeness or like rah. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I picked up a lot from him, to be honest.
It's funny, bro. Like I tell people all the time, it's like, people handle things differently in different countries. In Canada, there's a little bit more structure to it, but I'm like, in Jamaica, like I had a situation when I was a youth, bro, that impacted me forever because I saw death early, right? And the situation happened, and it wasn't the police officers that took it into their play; it was everybody else. So the way how you go about certain things, man, is it's different, and you have to pronounce it as so. The other thing too, man, is when I moved to Jamaica, you were what, 12?
Yeah.
Whenever you tell people that you were from Jamaica, right, they always say, "Yo, why would you want to leave a beautiful place like that?" You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, sometimes you don't have a choice. You gotta do what you gotta do. But
hey, man. It's for one, but look. For one, you 12. What choice do you have? What are you gonna say? Yeah, I'm not trying. Oh, bro, no. Like what stuff? It ain't gonna happen, bro. But like, I've also come to the conclusion, like, it's kind of a cool thing to experience in the same sense, because like me being I'm not even a first generation Canadian, to be honest. Look at it that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? My kids here will be the first generation Canadian, right? So you gotta look the way I've kind of pieced it together in my head is just more like that's just the stages of what like the family needed. You keep it as that, like like I said, my grandparents, they were both farmers. I think my grandmother owned, like she ran a shop outside their house as well too. But at the same sense, like I love Jamaica, but in the same sense, there's only so far you're gonna grow in Jamaica.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. There's only so far you're gonna like in the 10 years or 11 years we've been up here. Look at the Jamaican dollar has dropped. Like how far it's dropped.
Yeah.
Right. So the way I kind of looked at it is like, I mean, my parents, they saw it, and my parents would tell you the same thing, dude. They came to Canada for an opportunity. The opportunity wasn't for them. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't for them, you know what I'm saying? So it was really because my pops, I think he left like 2 years before retirement.
2 years. Right?
Yeah.
And the man just said, let's everybody, that's tough. I respect that though. That's tough.
Right? It's a business decision, but in the same sense, it's like it makes sense. Like, and me, that's why I said, like, that's why I said what I'm most grateful for is just the way I think. Because it's like, if I was in Jamaica, I don't think I'll be able to not just like think the way I'm thinking, because I'm 99% sure life will hit me a lot harder. It'd be a lot different. Mm-hmm. Right? The opportunities, like you're talking about Rose, like to be able to go JUCO.
Yeah.
So I didn't know about JUCO before I got to JUCO.
We go. Yo, hold that. We gonna get there. We gonna get there, bro. Because because.
Hey, I'm just saying, like, man, like it's. I didn't want to leave, and to keep it a stack, I haven't even been back on a positive note yet. But in the same sense, it's like, I understand, you know what I'm saying, why we had to leave. I understand why, because like the opportunity, not just opportunity, it's like my opportunity to like create what I'm creating right now and do what I'm doing right now. It wouldn't happen in Jamaica. I know that for a fact. 1,000 wouldn't happen.
I said the same thing, man. Now, so when you moved from Jamaica, you went to Calgary right away. See, when I moved to Canada, bro, I went further north, dog. I went to Yellowknife. It's different up there, bro. It's different up there, right? One of my uncles. Yeah. Oh, bro, just wait. One of my uncles, bro, he was in the army at the time. And, back in the 90s, you just needed somebody in the country to get into the country. Back when it was easier to slide up through there, right? And so I got to Yellowknife, bro, and when I landed on the plane. And I should have known something was happening, because I kept asking my mom, where are we going? She wouldn't tell me. Right. And so, bro, we get there and I see I see snow falling from the sky. Right. I'm just like, dog, mom didn't tell me that, sugar was falling from the sky and thing. It's just a disrespect. But then I felt the thing touch my lips and I'm like, sugar isn't cold where I'm from. What kind of nonsense is this? And the breeze was different, right? And then Yellowknife is much colder than Calgary, bro. And like culturally too, it's like, and whenever I go and speak to corporations, bro, and other teams, I'm like, how you guys treat animals up here is not how we treat animals down there. So when I used to see dogs like in the house, on the couch, in the bed, I'm like, I say, we don't speak the same language. I say, this is a different part of the world that I want no parts of. I just didn't understand. But the hardest part for me, Shane, was the language barrier, right? Because patois is broken English with some twang and some other things. But, I remember going to school, bro, and I'm talking to my teachers. I'm saying the same things as any of these other kids. But how I learned it from me was there was this guy, his name is Johnny. Shout out to Johnny. I hope Johnny's doing well. He really helped me out more than he know. But I was like, can I see your paper, what you're writing? Right. And I'm thinking I just wanted to see what these teachers were looking for. And so, you know how we talk. Me is I up here, right? And so I was like, okay, yo, so this is what he's doing, this is what he's here. But what was that transition like for you? Did you struggle a little bit like that? How I did, or was it completely different? Because my accent was thick.
It was almost it was oppressing. It was oppressing. It was I did not talk. I did not say a
Yeah.
because I got really annoyed with the What'd you say? Say it again. My patient ran really right out the window with that. So, because I remember one specific day, and I think it was grade 7 or 8. It was 7 or 8. And because so a lot. Like I said, the culture is a lot of cultural differences. Because like in Jamaica, you go to school, you're wearing a whole uniform.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's very military based, right? It's very like order, law and order type stuff, right? Because I went to a military school. I'm telling you, it's literally the same thing.
Yeah.
But and also like when you're in classrooms, it's a completely different story too. Like in the classroom, the teacher is the dictator.
Yeah.
Like that's how it is in Jamaica, right? So you be like in school in Jamaica, you be like, if you want to use the washroom,
you gotta raise your hand. And hopefully,
right? And then or excuse me, miss, can I have a pencil? Here you go to the situation. I'm in class in grade 7 or grade 8, and I go, excuse me, miss, can I have a rubber?
What's that? A what?
What'd you say? Can I have a rubber, please, miss? You want a condom? Like,
oh no! Yo, I'm going home. Dog, I don't need to be here.
Do you want a condom? What do you want a condom for? So, no. Eraser.
Dog, that cut deep. It still hurt a little bit today. It's still.
I was like, bro, I didn't even. All right. So honestly, from there, like I said, like I pick up. I'm. That's one of my superpowers. I pick up on a lot of mannerisms. Like, and I think I get it from my pops. But like, after that, like I got really quiet to the point where it's like I needed to like understand how I can communicate with these people because it's like I couldn't communicate. It was Hans and like all the time, and you can almost hear it right now how fast I speak, right? And that's with my code switch, right? So once like the patch gets pulled on, like it can just, if you're not hearing, it's gonna slip right past, right? So it really became it. It was something that I really worked on to the point where it's like I just watched shows to just understand like how they like elaborated words or like how they pronounce their words. You know what I'm saying? And it went from there and continually got better from there, to be honest. But even now, like I'm still a very quiet dude. I can be a quiet dude, but more it's like it still kind of falls back from that, whereas it's like I understand what's going on and then I can make a move after that. To be honest.
Yo, it's like that's how I had to do it too. Like I had to talk slower. And even now, right? I'm like, yo, they're like certain like ours. We don't really perform like to this day.
I'm like, what's going on?
Oh, and Doug, and the other thing is too, where it's like, yo, we add S's to everything without actually knowing that we're doing it. All right, because it just sounds better. All right, but it's a challenge, bro. But a lot of those times, the stuff that we deal with as youth, especially coming over from a different country, that stuff sticks with us, bro, and it can really affect us. But I'm curious though, man. Like that wasn't just a change for you; it was a change for your parents as well too. What do you remember about those times from your perspective as that young kid, seeing what your parents were doing? Did you see any signs of struggle with it for them?
They tried to hide it. You know what I mean? As parents gonna do, they're gonna try to hide it. But I still saw it. And me being the oldest kid too, I was oldest, and I have 2 younger sisters below.
Twins, right? Twin sisters, right?
twin sisters. Now the struggle was there. I mean, my parents wouldn't. They're not going. They're not. I'm not too sure if your folks like this too, but I feel like most Caribbean folks, they try to internalize a lot of their stuff like that. You know what I mean? They're not going to be the first one to tell you what's like if stuff's going bad or like if they're feeling this type of way about something. This is not the way. They don't feel comfortable doing this.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? They'll just go with the flow and just hold it back, and it's like hopefully things get better. That's what they kind of mood with. So I peeped that a lot, and again, how differently things were. You know what I'm saying? Like, because keep in mind, like, for the first 12 years of our lives, or my life, my parents have been driving me to school every day.
Mm-hmm.
We had our own vehicle. Like, we had a uniform for school, so we're not really thinking about clothing to go to school. Mm-hmm. Right? In Jamaica, you can't really express your hairstyle like that, so plain fade on the side, waves is good to go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's and I mean you have your school books and that type of that's really all that's all I was really worried about at that time, like because I mean they're dropping off as a school, we're eating in the morning, we're eating fruit on the side of the road when we drop my mom off.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Before we get to school, bro, like we got lunch money at school, we eat, go back to the nursery, we're chilling. The only probably craziest part of our day was waiting for my pops to leave school. Like he was in university at the time we were in Jamaica. So it would be like sometimes we'll leave from like my mom's crib to go to university, go pick him up, or he has to go to class or that type of play. But I mean, that was our life in Jamaica for the most part. When we came to Canada, it's almost a complete flip. Now my parents are both looking for jobs. Right, because they both had full-time employment. They've been working there for years. Again, my dad was almost about to retire.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. So now we come out. Both my parents looking for jobs, and that for one that they're comfortable was for one that they found comfortable. Like I think my dad got his within like 2 years. I think. He was working at a meat processing plant for a while. And then my mom got hers. I think. Couple of years after that, I think she's got another job as well too. Not as well, but like she just got another job, like switched positions in the same like with the government. But I had to say like the first couple of years we didn't have a vehicle. We was living with my uncle, in a 2-bedroom I think he had, or it could have been a 2-bedroom bungalow or a 3-bedroom bungalow. I'm shit. My parents, they're in one room. My sister's in another room. I'm in the couch. And then after that, we got our first apartment, like townhouse, where I finally got my first room. And then my sisters were still together. And then we didn't get our first house that we're still in right now till I started high school.
Yeah.
Right, in grade 10, at 2010, 2011. Right. And then also that on top of that, we go from not having our own vehicle, but now we're taking the public transportation to go everywhere. Right. I'm not saying the public transportation in Calgary is awful, but at the same time, coming from your own wheels to public transportation, and you have kids now that you gotta trust them to like figure out the bus system to go to school and back, safety concerns, the whole nine. There's a whole shift for us, to be honest. But we saw it. I mean, I saw it, but it was more I don't know where it came from to keep it stat. I've always been on the tip where it's like, if we're here complaining about it, that we're not really working at it, you know? So I knew that if my sisters saw me like stressing and start giving my parents hassle and all that, they might want to jump on the same tip. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't follow me, right? So I was like, all right, the best I can do is just like try to figure this out. Like, I don't know what the hell going on here either. Try to figure like I was creating like rhymes in my head trying to figure out what buses to take there and back. I think it was 22 there, 1 back, something like that. But it just became one of those things. You just kind of have to roll with the punches, because complaining only gonna put more stress on your parents, and they trying to figure it out for themselves as is right now. And that's not helping you. That's just going to, mess up the whole like my sisters, and then it's going crazy. So that's just kind of how I dealt with it for the most part. Like I kind of followed their way, of internalized a lot of it for the most part, and then like slowly just tried to figure out what the hell is going on. And to keep it as that, I don't think I really I really just figured it out like 3 or 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm,
Not gonna lie.
Yo, let me ask you this real quick, bro. Do you, because my mom was the same way, and my dad is the same way, and it wasn't until these recent years that my dad has opened up and told me some different parts of the story. Right?
Still haven't gotten there yet.
You still haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah.
As a young man growing up, though, bro, do you think you would have benefited from your parents actually telling you what was going on, and then being open to be like, yo, we're going to struggle here for the next year and a half, but just stick with us. It'll get better. Do you ever think about that?
I feel like I do sometimes, but then I understand the parental side as well. Not trying to put that stress on your kid. But at the same time, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and blame my parents for what they did. But at the same time, I don't know, it could either or. I mean, I feel like maybe I could have handled it because I saw it as is. I already saw it plain as day, even though they were trying to hide it. And I'm sure there's a lot of things I missed, you know what I'm saying, that they did keep from me. But I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know if it would have changed my actions or whatever it was, but I couldn't tell you. I mean, I feel like the way I am, because that's the way they operated, I'm just super communicative now. Like,
yeah. So you already made that change subconsciously. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to be communicative in almost everything that I do. You know what I'm saying? If you're not okay with that, I'll at least know that now. You know what I mean? I'll know that. And maybe I can figure out a way how to make you happy as well too. Or, you know what I mean? Whatever the case might be, it's open conversation. But it could have changed things. It could not, to be honest. I don't know. It's kind of hard to put them in. It's kind of hard for me to put them in that position because, of course, I do know that's a lot. Like that's a lot to deal with. Like to uproot everybody and say, "Yo, we're going here to live with your brother," and then after that, try to figure it out while not employed. Just like I went through a lot on a solo. I can only imagine what they were going through handling 5.
What's crazy about that, bro, is I don't think people really think about the stuff that their parents be going through. You know what I'm saying? Because the older that you get, you kind of realize, they're just trying to figure it out like how we trying to figure it out, and it's tough. And there are some things that my mom and my dad has told me on separate occasions, and I'm just like, how'd y'all deal with that? Like, I don't think I could have got through that. But man, when I moved to Canada, bro, like obviously you moved to Canada for a better life, but we fell on some tough times. Mom and I were homeless. All right. And it was in that moment too that I kind of realized exactly what you said. Complaining doesn't make me feel better. It already sucks. I don't want to remind myself that this sucks. I don't know when the next meal is going to be. I don't know when the next shower is going to come. It's cold. But what it did teach me, man, was, I had to, and I had to let go of certain emotions. All right. And my mom, she worked a whole lot. So I didn't really see her growing up too much because she was always gone. So for me, I was like, I have to turn off this emotion of, woe is me type of deal and just, accept it for what it is and just go on and just deal with what's to come. And I kind of put that into sports, right? So football came into play, man. How did football come into play for you? Because, from all the stuff that I heard about you coming up, you were just a guy who had massive size, but you were raw, still didn't really figure out the game just yet. Because when I played football, my first initial thought, so you want to tell me that you have this man running full speed at this man, and I'm supposed to want to be a part of that? That's dead. I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? So what was that initial process like to you? Because you get to Crescent Heights, and it's different.
So I ain't no cap. So football, well, football has thrown me for such a crazy ride, and that's why I say I'm just figuring this stuff out now because like I'm still on that ride.
Yeah,
because I didn't know about football until grade 10. That's my first. Yeah. When I say introduction to football, like I didn't even know about the NFL until grade 10.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know about CFL. I didn't know that football was a sport. I didn't know about pads, helmets, nada. But I originally started playing basketball, and like I went to Sir John A. Macdonald in Calgary, and we had lost in like the championship that year. So it's a funny ass story. So that summer, all I'm doing is training for basketball. I'm playing, I'm lifting.
How tall are you at this point? How tall were you?
And this is grade 10, so I was probably like 6 foot maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, 5'11", 6 foot, maybe. You know what I'm saying? But that summer I had a crazy growth spurt. But so I'm just playing ball and like when I say playing ball, like I'm getting up on my Cardell playing till like they close, going to Superstore.
Quick sandwich and then run right back.
You know exactly what's going on. And you know, like if you played ball back then, bro, like everyone will tell you after what 10 o'clock, Superstore the hot and ready. So you know what's going on. So go to Superstore, go get the hot and ready, get a big ass tub of chicken because they give them that shit away for free at that point, or for like $2. And go get you a drink, Arizona, and you good.
Learning the finances quickly. I remember Wendy's used to have 99-cent burgers on certain days. Dog, eating like a king.
Listen. So that was my summer. All day, go to the Superstore, get my snack, bike back to the crib. And then I got a letter from Crescent, and they were like, "Yo, we want you to come on and try it for the football team." Now I'm thinking shit sweet. So I'm like, bro, how they get my address, all this shit, you know what I'm saying? So not knowing clearly then. So not knowing when I got to the school, everyone got the damn letter.
You thought you were privately getting this. It was an invitation only thing for you.
That shit was sweet. So what happened with the football thing though? What happened with the football thing is I also got one for basketball, right? So I'm thinking this is the shit right here. So I go to Crescent like I go to Crescent like I want to say 5 days early before like they're reporting things and whatnot. So I go in there early and I was like, "Yo, I got this letter for basketball. I was want to come holler at the coach and talk to him and see what's going on. What's looking like to me, the team and all that." And who caught me? I think it was Rob. Coach Rob caught me. Remember Sharif?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coach Rob Watson. Yeah, that man taught me so many. Great coach, but a wicked human being, bro. Wicked human being. Just a very good man.
Yeah. So he caught me in the hallway, I think, and he was like, "Yo, what you doing?" I was like, he had the accent too. Like, yo, I was like, "What you doing here?" I'm like, "Here for basketball." "No, you're downstairs. Let's go." I was like, "Shit." So I walk down to the locker room. I go downstairs. You know what I mean? The same old like in the trenches. Go downstairs. And he's like, "What side of the ball you want to play? O line or D line?" I was like, "Both." I was like, "Nah, you gotta pick one. O line." And that's how I became my O line.
Yeah, that's such a Coach Rob story, bro. Now, so they were playing O line, right, in Crescent. Now we're talking about the aspects of the game. Oh, like when I first started playing football, man, the first year I actually I had to sit out the year because, I went to some doctors and they said, they didn't clear me to play. But the following year, I was nice. Like it just came easy to me. But there was a time, bro, when as the level went up, I remember I played midget football, right? Going into the 10th grade. And so now you're playing with kids who are in grade 9, 10, 11. And had a wicked year the year before. I was feeling good. And then I went up against a guy who played on the midget team named Kirby Fabian. Name sound familiar?
Dog.
I saw Kirby. And I was like, there's no way this guy is going to be able to catch me. It's soft. So I'm in the backfield. Now, in mine, I'm only 100 and maybe 45, 49 pounds, but I'm solid. I'm sturdy. QB says, "Hut, it's a delay," and then he moves out the way. Kirby dashed 2 linemen away from me, and he just fell on me. And I went to Coach Rob and I said, I don't think I want to play anymore, dog. Like, there's no way this man should be able to do this to me. So was there a moment like that for you? Obviously, you have the size on your advantage, but you're still learning the game. When you were playing during your years at Crescent, was there a moment that kind of woke you up and said, I might have to work a little bit harder here?
Nah, it was never really a moment, to be honest, because like we had some dogs my year. I'm not gonna lie, we had some dogs my year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My graduating class, like there's a good like maybe I want to say like maybe 6 guys from my high school graduation class of the city, not just like Crescent, like the city.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That are playing pro right now in some sort, whether it be basketball or football, right? So it was always like I don't know if you know about like the Hunchak brothers or
yep. Mm-hmm.
The Rowe brothers. There's a bunch. Is like during my time when I was coming up, it was a time for football. It was a time for sport, high school sports altogether.
Trust me, yo.
Remember after your year, you had like there was Josiah, was it Josiah or there's a bunch of basketball dudes that were just up and coming that year, as well too. But so, and because I was going from like football right into basketball and like it was 1 to 2, like I never really had an off season, right? But so it really came down to like, bro, last year was good, but you ain't do what you needed to do. We didn't win the chip. Well, we won the chip my first year in grade 10 in basketball, and we lost in grade 10 as well. But it was always, bro, there's always somebody to like, I don't want to say push you, but like they coming for you, bro. Like you gonna get embarrassed, right?
It's the nature of the sport, man.
Right? That's why I like football. They're coming for you, right? And like the thing about football is like whatever you do in the offseason gonna show up in the season every single time, right? So I didn't know that back then, but at the same time, it's like I saw them boys working, right? Like GT Fitness was a thing, bro. Like.
Yeah, I remember seeing those mans and working out with them a couple of times and seeing what they were doing. I was just like, yo, these guys are taking it seriously out here.
GT was real, bro. Like, and like I would be in some of those workouts too, and I'm like, damn, these boys working. And the thing about it too is we was working with some of the youth sports cats too, that like even Kirby. Like I first knew about Kirby in doing GT, but I got recruited to UFC to replace Kirby because that was the year Kirby was going pro.
Yeah.
Right? So that was another way I found out about Kirby. But like I met Kirby while working out in Greg's basement in GT.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So like when I'm working out against these guys, I'm like, damn, I ain't know about football till 2 years ago. Or a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever I'm doing right now, I'm just doing this shit because I'm sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
natural.
Yeah, like Rose was saying, just like I just knew what I was like. I was just doing the shit athletically, but like I wasn't doing, doing the shit like you know what I'm saying, like squatting and cleaning and benching. Like I didn't know what that life was. I just didn't know about it. Right. Unfortunately, I got hit with you don't know what you don't know, and that's what kind of like that kind of stumbled me a lot growing up, but at the same time, it's just like that's what kind of pushed me. That's literally that kept me driven all the way through college. Damn near. It was the fact that like I'm still doing this shit against guys that's been playing this shit since they were in not in high school, in junior high.
Yeah.
I found out about this shit a couple of years ago. Right? If I really figure out what these pieces are, and I can like figure out the process of how to do it, I can do something crazy here. That's what's always been my mindset.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Based off this how I started is the fact that bro, I didn't even start with nothing, bro. I didn't even know what a helmet was. You understand me?
It's the one thing, bro, that you know, people always talk about the athletic ability and all that stuff. Yo, but for me, I always said, yo, if I'm not the fastest, if I'm not the quickest, if I'm not the strongest, yo, I'm going to be mentally more different than any of these other cats. And so for me, that's why I trash talk one time and I felt bad because, yo, the kid was crying after the game because to me, yo, I don't have that. Once the switch is on, it's hard for me to take it off. All right. And so I just stay quiet, bro. Like, because to me, I'm just like, it's not like I know you. So if I don't know you, I care nothing for you, especially when we're in the game. And at the end of the day, too, I'm just like, when you go home, you're going home to a meal, right? When you're going home, you have some other things that I don't have. So not only am I physically hungry, but I'm literally hungry to see how I can change my situation. When we talk about the transition from high school to you went to Colts for a little bit, Calgary Colts for a little bit, but then you went to New Mexico Military Institute, man. What was that transition like for you? Because for me, I had a little bit of a guide to it because I was originally going to go to Florida State to play, to run track, but also play football as well too. But one of the maths that I took in the 9th grade, the NCAA didn't accept anymore. So I was ruled ineligible. So I'm like, yo, this guy's saying go to a junior college. I don't know nothing about junior college. I don't know where the school was. I didn't even look to know where the school was. I'm just like, yo, if I stay home, I'm going to get distracted and I need to just go and just go. So what was that process like for you? My assumption, you probably didn't even know about a junior college, as you just said. You probably was just figuring out as you go. So how did you get to the decision of New Mexico Military? And a side note, when I talked to Mr. Rose, I think you might have actually already left at this point. And I was just like, yo, if he wants to come down to junior college, yo, he should go to one of these Kansas schools because, yo, they actually give scholarships, right? They will pay for some of that stuff. But, yo, these Kansas schools are ridiculous. Like, I went to my year when I went to junior college, I went to school with this other cat who was at Hutchinson, Cordell Patterson, who went on to Tennessee and then he went pro. And I was just like, yo, this is a different type of beast here because I think junior college gets a bad rep because it is not that Division I. But yo, there were some cats there. Yo, there were some cats when I was there in track and field who went pro out of junior college, right? What was that process like for you, man? How did you get to picking New Mexico Military Institute and why a military school out of all?
So, I mean, the JUCO thing was it's a story to that too. So like you said, like I played with the Colts for that 1 year right at high school. With that 1 year, I developed a mentor, Adam Blazanetti. Mm-hmm. He's an O-line coach in Calgary, like well known. He's still with the Colts now, but he also coached with the Stamps a few times. Montreal, BC, and Simon Fraser as well. So coming out of high school, he kind of saw how raw I was, and like he kind of took me and like showed me the ropes as best as he could, right? And I picked up what he taught me, and what he taught me is a lot of the stuff he's taught me I'm still using today.
Yeah.
And the value, like I've gotten better with it. But so when in playing with the Colts that year, I think I won Rookie Lineman of the Year that year for the PFC. And that's where I was like, all right. That's where my mindset started thinking a little bit more. Is like, shit, I was supposed to go to UC, didn't go there for grades, couldn't go there because of grades. And I'm playing Colts here. I'm, I think, 17 or 18 at the time. Probably, I think 17 at the time. I'm starting, and I just won this award. I didn't even know the award existed, to be honest, but I won this joke. So, I won it, and I was sitting there. I was like, damn, like, I didn't even think there was an opportunity there, but it was like, there's something there for it, right? There's something there for football, for sure. Like, I definitely got something here, right? And then like the CJFL has a program with like the CFL where they'll send like two of their players to practice with them. So I was a part of the practice roster for the Stamps for like I think like a week and a half, and I couldn't even stay that long with them because I didn't have a car to get there and back to practice in the same breath. So within that 1 week, I got cooked like 4 times. and then like I was talking to some of the vets there, and they're like, "Yo, what are you doing, bro? What you doing here?" Right? Because again, I'm 17 playing with these guys at the same time, right? So even though I'm getting cooked, it's like, bro, I'm 17, bro. You 32. You should
be doing this.
It's your job, bro. You should be doing exactly this, right? But it wasn't like an awful cook, like get this guy off the field. It was like, okay, he's 17, but they brought up junior college. I was like, bro, what the hell is junior college? It's like, yeah, let's look into it. But regardless, it slipped my mind back then. So I didn't look into it back then.
Got you.
So what happened, though, was I ended up trying out because I was 17, I ended up trying out for Team Canada U18, which was my last year to ever play Team Canada, which was dope for me, right? So when I made that selection, we went down to Texas first, and we played against Team USA in Texas. And I forgot who was on that team, but they had some real ass dudes on that team. And I wasn't even starting on that team, the Team Canada team. I wasn't even starting on that team. But when I did get in, like I held my own, like for real, I held my own. So that game was also a tryout for another Team Canada selection to go to Kuwait for team for Worlds or whatever it's called. It was the World Football Association like tournament, and that tournament we had training camp in Italy, and then the games would start for like 3 weeks in Kuwait. So we played like 7 games in that span, or whatever, or maybe a month over there, right? So I made that. I also made so after that game, I ended up making the team for the other selection to go to Kuwait. Now, when I was in Texas, after that game, I was like, oh yeah, I can play here.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I can do this for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, like, I'm watching, like, we got cooked. Keep that in mind, we got cooked. Like, they cooked, like, they was cooking us.
But it felt right.
No, that's not what I was looking at. Because, like I said, I knew it was a selection for another team. So I didn't really care about it too much. Like, I still wanted to play. But I was also looking at the fact that, like, I'm not starting here. Right? I'm not starting here. And I came in and I held my own. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that I wasn't even getting the reps to even be great against these cats, and I was still doing my shit. Again, I'm playing with limited experience compared to all these guys. Some of these guys come from CJEP, like they're all over Canada, right? Matthew Beck is on that team. There's so many of those guys that was on that team. We're Royce, Mitchie that I'm playing with right now. We was on that team. So it's kind of crazy how that came full circle like that. But like we was getting cooked, but I held my own. So I was like, shoot, there's something here for that, right? So literally after that game, I got back in my hotel room and I created I wrote up a little script. I was like, yo, I'm from I'm here, and I'm sending out like highlight tapes. Shoot everybody and anybody that would take that joke. And I'm getting I'm getting disrespectful ass messages too. Like,
Yeah.
disrespectful. Like, bro, you Canadian, bro. Stay your ass up there, bro. Like, disrespectful ass. I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
Right. So, tutus. I make the team, and then there was like there's a grace period for the selection of the team. But within that grace period, I'm still emailing every coach under the sun. I'm going through Facebook message. I'm going through your friends. I'm going through your friends' friends. I'm finding coaches. I'm finding recruiters. I'm finding scouts, and I'm sending this joker out to everybody that will take it and just listen. So, after a while, I ran into this dude. I still have it. I still have his contact, but I ran into a recruiter. And he was like, yo, I start helping you out, this and that. And he started sending my stuff out. And he brought up New Mexico military once before. And he had helped guys out. Like, you know Siobhan Gallagher?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he brought up Siobhan, I think, name, and like Devin Baker, and like and a bunch of guys that played down there that came up here to play the ball too. But he brought them up. And like he didn't really reach out with off, but like he started sending my stuff up. So fast tutus were in Kuwait. By that time I picked up I think like 3 offers, I want to say. I picked up an NIA school, which I got the offer and I was ready to commit right there. I signed that joker. Thank God I didn't press send, bro. I was ready. Listen, I was ready to commit right there. And I don't know if it was Adam or someone was like, yo, just take your time with it. So I was like, all right, let me chill. And then I got, I think, a D2 offer, and then I got one to go to Eastern Michigan. The Eastern Michigan was the highest offer at the time. So I was like, so again, tutus were in Kuwait now. Eastern Michigan coaches is one of the coaches of Team USA. That's one of their coaches, right? So he's talking to me in this. And I'm like, all right, I'm about to sign, but I could only sign. I had to do. I think what was it? It wasn't a redshirt. It was the academic ineligible for the first year.
Yeah.
Kids with me. So that was the only thing with that scholarship offer was I had to do that to get my grades up, and then I can get put on full scholarship. Right. So that was the only thing with that. But I was like, man, I can do the 1 year, and then we'd be straight because I didn't. Again, based off how the family move coming up, I'm not trying to add more stress as far as trying to figure out student loans and
Mm-hmm.
My sister's still in high school. Like, I'm doing this. I'm not at home. Like, my parents, I know their mental is split between me, my sisters, and then still trying to figure out how to live. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, my whole thing was like, bro, I ain't paying for school. I'm not going to school unless I'm not going to school if I have to pay for it. Right? That was, once I got through high school, it was like, I'm not paying for that joke. Right? Whether I had to go work and then take my 1-2 classes, that's what I would have done. But like, I'm not picking out a crazy ass load to do all that, bro. That made no sense to me. So I literally got the paper to scholarship to go to Eastern Michigan on the partial. And then I get this text at like 12:45 in the morning from Joe Fortner. He was the head coach at NIMI at the time. And the message is like, yo, we got 1 scholarship left. It's a full ride.
Wow.
Don't have to worry about like clothing because it's a military school. Could pay for that.
You got no clothes?
You don't have to if you don't want to. You know what I'm saying? But it's like books and room and board will take care of all of that as well too. And I'm like, shit, it's a full ride. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm going through the pros and the cons. I'm like, okay, it's a full ride, but shit, it's a military school. I looked that jerk up online. What it's like to be like a day in the life in at a NIMI cadet? That shit looked like Jamaica.
I was just about to say that. I'm like, yo, in a way, you kind of already did that.
It looked like Jamaica, right? And I was like, shit, I did that for like 11 years. You know what I mean? I just got to graduate from this joker,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I was like, because again, if you go through all the characteristics of a school in Jamaica, you would think it's a military school. You would think it's a military.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? Like down to formations in the morning. Like
yeah.
I don't understand. Dudes used to be outside, like the whole school used to be in the middle, singing rhymes and shit. Like like you're here present. Like that's what cats used to be doing. If you're late, and Michael, the school I went to was Michael Paxton Primary Junior High in Jamaica, right? If you're late and doing devotion or like doing like the daily like morning briefing and shit like that, they call it morning briefing, guy.
And most people can't even spell briefing at that age, bro. And you want me to understand what it means?
15 years old, bro. I'm talking so they have your ass walking through the entire briefing and they're talking while you're walking through. Everybody's watching you walk through late as hell.
It's funny you say that, bro, because when I got to Canada, I didn't realize how much I hated being late until you said that. And I remembered, I'm like, because when you're late, everybody watches you, dog.
Watching you.
And they just judge you like.
Listen, bro. It's like, boo that man, bro. It's like, bro, it's not my fault. My parents was late, bro. It wasn't me, bro.
Blame them, take it up with them.
Right? So, but like, it's the same thing in military school. You got 6 a.m. formation, you know what I'm saying? Like, you march to, you have reveille, you march to the mess hall, you eat at the mess hall, you march back, and then, you know what I'm saying, you have your chain of command. And that's really all NIMI was, to be honest. So, like, the reason why I picked it was because, like, it was very familiar. Mm-hmm. Like, I knew it was one thing I didn't have to think about now was, like, how am I going to adjust this thing? I already know how to adjust this thing. Now, it just came into, like, okay, how do I thrive in this joker now? You know, because, like, the thing I learned about the military is it's like, there's a lot of ego in the joke. It's a lot of ego in military, in chain of command, especially in the military, based off the fact that like once you get ranked, realistically, no, like if you're lower, technically, they can't do nothing.
Yeah,
technically, right? And you see a lot of cats do that. You see a lot of cats be like, "I'm a sergeant major. You listen to me." No, I'm a first lieutenant. You listen to me. And they feel like you can scream and yell at you however they feel because it's such rank. Right? But at the same time, it's just like you can still, and that's one thing I did learn from NIMI, which I'm super geeked about, is it's like you can still lead from the back and no one even knows that you're the lead.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because like I think the highest I went to was like a maybe a sergeant. I think it was a sergeant. I got promoted to, but it was kind of crazy because like I would still hold a lot of rank with like the actual cadets.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. Like if stuff was going sideways, I'm like, yo, calm that shit down, or yo, tighten up. They will tighten up. You know what I'm saying? It like, and I didn't have to rah scream or any of that, and it to the point where like, because we had. How the training command kind of worked was like you had your true commander and then you have your squadron commander. No, you have a squadron commander and you have your true commanders. And your true commanders have also like individual squadron for like the high school squadron and then the college squadron, right? Because they're two different, separated. But on top of that, you have what you call like the squadron leader, which would be like an actual military or retired military personnel, and he would control the entire squadron.
Yeah.
Right? So, I ain't gonna lie. I just figured out the ways of the school, right? And once I figured out that it was all an ego thing, and you just have to have the right answers and follow what was really going on, like, they did a thing called the stick system. So, it was like, if I miss formation, you get hit with like a 10-15. And 10-15 would be like 10 hours of marching and 15 demerits. Right?
Okay.
So it's like that's literally 10 hours of marching in like a box.
Yo, that's
right?
mad.
And then like
That's a mad thing, dog.
and then like the 15 demerits, if you get like over 100 demerits, you get put on academic probation, and then you can't leave like campus altogether. Like it's just like the school, like there's so many like barriers for you to be expressive and like do different things because of like the chain of command. And that's why I don't really mess with chain of command like that no more. Based on those things. It's like if a second lieutenant wanted to really like make my life a living hell,
he could do that
without any hesitation. Right? And like it doesn't, so I didn't really dig it, but I do understand there are pros and cons to chain of command, like especially in business as well too. But in the same sense, like I feel like it has to be limited because like if it does get taken advantage of, which it does 99% of the time, especially in those roles, like it really takes someone to have like decent character in the top position to really follow all the way down to the bottom position to make sure everything's getting taken care of. Mm-hmm. Which a lot of people say ain't gonna do that. So that's my little give and take on chain of command. But I did, just to double back to what the original question was, why I chose it was because it's like, for one, I didn't have to put anything on the pocket. For two, it was a situation that I already knew I could get comfortable very fast. And then for three, I understood like once you graduate from here, you can go wherever you want, right? And for me, for what I was being told, like growing up, because I've always been like a 70 student, and you know in Jamaican or 70, 80 student in Jamaican culture, that's an F.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So, and it followed into high school. Like I graduated with like damn near 79, 59. Like I was there. Like so my Achilles heel was always been school, right? It's always been school. So I looked at it as like a challenge too. It's like, all right, if I graduate from here with my GPA where it needs to be, because it had to be a 2.5 to go anywhere else, and I get my scholarship, that's just doubling down on what I just said before. Is like, bro, half this stuff I don't know. I just figure out on the way and I make it happen, right? So, and that's literally what I did. You know what I'm saying? Like, got there, just understood what was going on, and just like try to make my steps. Shoot, the head coach is the one that recruited me. So the first year when I get there, the first couple of days when I get there, they had like the O-line coach had me at like, I don't want to say last because I'm pretty sure he played the waterboard before me. And then by the time we got to camp, I was starting. You know what I'm saying? So, and again, this is a different game. It's not like the Canadian game. We have 2 steps and you're good to go. But it's more like you're right there, which I almost like even more. But that's what it's just one of those things. It was a best opportunity to really go anywhere, and it was almost like betting on myself.
Yo, junior college, bro. Like it's you just talking about the grades. Yo, when I got to Barton, yo, I had the highest math mark I ever got ever. Like I was like 67. Yo, I was feeling wicked. I was feeling nice. And then I got my first term report card. I was like, yo, why does it say I have an F? He was like, no. He's like, yo, a passing up here is 70. I'm just like, dog, that's impossible, right? But so we get to Oklahoma State, man, and I know the food was not good in junior college. We wouldn't even have to go there. I know that. But 2017, bro, I found it interesting, man, because you got there. Interesting year for you because you had to sit out that year, redshirt, right? And so that's not always by choice.
I didn't. I didn't.
What year was that?
I redshirted in 18.
18.
I redshirted. Yeah, I got screwed that way. I got screwed there because this is my first year I got there. I started doing I did BS time. So like I was going in like the last 2 minutes of the game, that type of stuff, right? And then I didn't know I didn't even know what a redshirt was because I played my first 2 years at JUCO, right? So I didn't know the rules of a redshirt. But the rules of a redshirt stated, at least for that year, could have changed literally a year after that, was you can't even take a snap, not even one snap in a game.
Okay, so
So that first year where I played in like 6 games, it just screwed me completely. Like OSU completely screwed me there. I ain't
So
gonna cap to you.
did that count as a year then?
Yes. So my next year, so here go the kicker. The next year was like that was my true senior year, right? And that was the year everybody, that was like 90% of the team's senior year, or the 80% of the senior year. That year, I was starting all the way through camp, like the whole nine, and we get a grad transfer in like 2 weeks before the first game, or 3 weeks before the first game.
Mm-hmm.
That's when they decided to redshirt me.
Jeez.
So they redshirted me my true senior year. Yeah, they redshirted me my true senior year that year as well too. And then the next year is when I started playing and like actually getting playing time. So if I screwed up in it, like my time at OSU again, just doing a lot with a little. You know what I'm saying? Like not getting the experience I needed, not getting like just the absolute training. Because like I also not only that I miss out on actually playing.
Mm-hmm.
Like they screwed me out of a redshirt year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That year where like you come in to develop more and get better. You know what I'm saying? You're not worried about playing in games, just training all year. I never got that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? My redshirt year consisted of me like I was still the number 2 my redshirt year, which is kind of crazy. So I traveled to every game. I dressed every game. I just never touched a snap.
Yo, let me ask you this. So what did those years teach you about Shane, the man?
That year specifically, the redshirt year,
Mm-hmm.
it was my mental's a lot stronger than I think it is sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Because and my perspective is different. That does show me my perspective is a lot different as well too. Because that's when I can really say my mental shifted when it came to understanding offenses and understanding defenses. I just sat back and watched that joker. I sat back every single time they went into cover 2, where they're throwing the ball, like what defensive fronts like we want to run, like we want to run into if we're into like a 4x1 set, you know what I'm saying, or a 2x2 and they're split out and we got a 4-1 box in the middle. You know what I'm saying? Now you have 1-on-1 with the safety with running back, right? But also like how QBs and offensive coordinators see things as well too. They're ready to take, you know what I'm saying, the spit out yards with the receivers for a bigger gain than run that joker. But I also see on the other hand where like we can pack that box and go 1-on-1. You know what I'm saying? And just angles and understanding the counting and the box. Like when they rotate, like the box can lie, but safeties can't. You know what I'm saying? They can't play this many people in the box with that many receivers up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it doesn't make any sense. Someone has to rotate.
Yeah.
Or if no one's rotating, someone's going to blitz.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to figure out where is this blitz coming from? Where they're overloaded to. You know what I'm saying? So like all those things start slowing down in my mind too. It's like he's coming, bet. He crossing face, bet. He's over here. He's crossing face. They're running. You know what I'm saying? And then not only that, when you watch film, and then you're like, oh, they doing the same. It just click. It's just right there. Like you know what's about to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But so I mean, that's kind of what I learned that year. That was my biggest blessing. Was just like that next year when that came, even to this point, it's like I just know it. You know what I'm saying? I just know it. Like if we get 2 blocks here, we're gonna create angles where it's 1-on-1 against with running back. The thing about if you have 1-on-1 against running back, that means you're probably a 1-on-1 outside too. So it's like the psychology of football I really start understanding the psychology of football. Like, you start running the ball on first and second down, and you force a team to cover that box. They have to go 1-on-1 outside with the receivers. Now we're in an even playing field.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or flipping it vice versa. It's like, you think we're running the ball, now we go and play action. You know, but now you can cover one. So it's not even like help. You're not in cover three. You know what I'm saying? You're manned up right now. You know what I'm saying? There's one safety back there. If he makes one bad week, it's a wrap for you.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to come over here. We got to dig on this side. Who you covering?
Yo, it's always interesting. Like, you know? I and O-line men don't get enough credit. I'm like, yo, because you got to know the run plays, you got to know the pass plays, you got to know certain things. You know, man, it's always interesting how much a person learns when they have to watch because other senses aren't heightened. Man, I got three more questions for you, bro. 2019, you know, you got drafted first overall pick. Pandemic hit 2020, right? You know, last year you guys won the Grey Cup. Yo, when you think about it, bro, as I just talked about it, do you ever realize, like, yo, that just doesn't happen that quickly? You know what I'm saying? Like, it does not happen as quickly as that, right? 2019 wasn't that long ago, right? The Grey Cup was last year. When you think about it, bro, what does it make you think? What does it make you feel? What comes to your mind when you think about when it kind of, because it probably just started kind of clicking for you like maybe 2-3 years ago, right? Yeah. What 19 to 22, man, what during that success, what does it make you think of, man? Do you ever just think about that and just sit with that for some time and just think?
Yeah. I mean, I do and I don't in the same breath. I think of the processes I did in 19, and like I said, the off season, like what I do off season, like why was I able to do certain things like that in off season, and then that's what I took into this off season as well too. It's like, okay, we're gonna double down on what we did in the off season, but like not just double down, we gotta improve it, right? So like, my story from 19, like I said, I got drafted. When I got drafted, I was 360, maybe 340, give or take.
6'8", 340.
Yeah. And then got hurt after the first game, pulled my other groin, because I pulled my left one like the season before in college. Pulled my other groin. So I was out for 6 games, over the 8 weeks or something like that. Came back, played a little bit. But my whole thing was like, I pulled my groin within 7 months of like a 7-month span, right? That don't make no sense to me, right? So I knew something had to change with how I was training. Now, keep in mind that in college, we was training like dogs. You know what I'm saying? Like, we was going at it. So it wasn't necessarily that I was weak, but there's something that I didn't develop. And for me, it was flexibility, and just like understanding my body a little bit more. So, that off season, I went from 360 to like, and then COVID hit. So during the off season, I was going at it, right? I think I got up to like 330 or 325. But I was working at the airport, and it was a lot, right? And then COVID hit. So when COVID hit, I was like, damn, this might not be a bad thing, right? Because again, I never had a red shirt, right? So when COVID hit, I was like, shit, this might be my red shirt year. You know what I'm saying? Right. So when COVID hit, I was like, bet this gonna be my red shirt year, and I gotta figure out what the hell I'm gonna do. Right? Whether it be, I don't know. I had no clue what I was gonna do at the time. And then I started boxing. And then when I say, bro, boxing is like football without the pads.
Yeah.
It's not even football. It's like playing O-line without the pads.
Yeah.
And like 11 people on the field. right? And I was like, damn, this shit is fun. Like,
Yeah.
it's fun. Like, I know people say you can't play boxing, bro. Like, I be in the ring having fun, bro. I'm not even gonna lie to you, bro. Like, I be smart. Like, I be having fun. And I just like the whole COVID year, I was literally boxing the same way I was playing ball
So
in
you're
high school.
consistently
I was boxing 4 days a week. I took 1 day off to lift, maybe. And now I'm back in the ring, just boxing, sparring, like every damn day. Bro, it was crazy. Every damn day. And it didn't feel like I just felt like shit to start dropping off of me. I wasn't looking at it for the weight, but it was like I just felt, again, my mental was sharp and I got to hit. You know, that's the biggest thing in the offseason. You don't get to hit as much until you get to the season, right? So I get to hit and really take out that and like really get creative, which I love being creative in the ring because like you have to think in the ring. People don't get that. It's not the swinging. You have to really you have to be in that bitch thinking. Like
tactics. You can't just
you know what I'm saying? You throw one jab, a jab maybe coming back or a hook's coming your way. One of the two. You better move. Pick your poison. So it's like, because I'm always thinking for football, thinking about safeties, thinking about D-lineman stance, thinking about the box we got, corners, the whole 9 yards, what kind of play we got, what the type of play we have. Like, it goes from all of that to like, okay, you can only throw one or two things. And I can take one of them bitches away. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? And that's all based on what I do. If I don't throw my jab, he gonna climb. Every single time. They have to. I'm tall and everybody, they have to climb. Right? If I don't throw my jab. So I know if I keep this jab fluid and liquid, I know for a fact you're gonna have to walk through that joker, right?
Mm-hmm.
Depending on who I'm fighting, if you know what I'm saying, if I'm fighting a smaller dude, I might just go sit back in the ring and just let the dude come at me and throw because I don't want to keep chasing Buddy to throw my big ass hands and he just ducking him, throwing 30 of them jokers. So no, you can play at a distance, you can throw your 1-2, I'm gonna sit back and we gonna do it this way. I'm not gonna get tired, you gonna get tired, and then once you get tired, I'm gonna push on your ass and then we're gonna see what you really can do.
It's over with, right? Yeah.
So it's like, so what happened was I ended up dropping to like 260 that year. And then I was like, damn, camp's in 3 weeks. Let's put some weight on. I ended up putting on like 10 pounds, 10, 15 pounds for that season. The 19 season. No, the 20 season where we lost in the conference championship. Put on 20 pounds and I was playing like 290 that entire year. Super light. So going into the next year, I was like, shoot, we just got to double down on that. Right? Because it was a good experience. The only thing I was getting screwed was my weight. Right? So if I can, you know what I mean, incorporate lifting into that on top of that boxing routine, shit should be sweet.
It'd be a good balance. So, yeah, that's smart.
That's really what I've been doing these last 2 years is incorporating more. I find balance of boxing and lifting. So this last off season, I was lifting and running 4 times a week, and I was also boxing maybe like twice a week, two or 3 times a week, right? Just because, like, for one, it's just crazy that I never knew about boxing before football. Because if that was a situation, I would not be playing football right now.
Yo, like, it's so much of like, yeah, bro, like so much of different sports is like, yo, you have to cross train in different ways and don't be afraid to try different things. Man, last 2 questions that I have for you, bro. You talk about the different opportunities you got here, man. 4 Corner Wingstop, man. Tell me a little bit about that. How did it get started? Is it family owned? Business partners? Are you making the wings? Is it your recipe? Tell me a little bit about that, man.
So yeah, 4 Corners, that's my baby. I ain't gonna lie to you, that's my baby. It's a chicken wing restaurant. I started it right after COVID. I'd originally thought about the idea to start a wing restaurant like when I was after my first year at NIMI. I'd originally thought about starting it,
Because the food at JUCO wasn't good, so you had to figure out somebody.
And not only that, I was back home and I saw the opportunity for it to keep it a stack. Like at the time, the reason why I thought about it was because I wanted. To be honest, I came back home and me and some of the homies were kicking it, and we wanted some wings. The only thing that was open was Pizza 73. Like literally the only thing that was open. I was like, bro, this cannot be it, right? And then my mind started going down this rabbit hole. Like, shit, if we had something that late night, you know what I'm saying, for the clubs, after the clubs, that might be a play. That might be a play, right? So at the time, all the homies were all in agreement. They were like, yo, let's do this and that. But they didn't want to move past that at the time. And then what happened was when COVID happened, CFL canceled the season, right? And I was like, damn, like that put me in a depression, left like no other, like that point where people are like, yo, athletes, when that moment comes and you don't know what to do after, that point came to me my second year in the league. You know what I'm saying? That was
while you were still playing, yeah.
I was forced into retirement my second year in the league. You know what I mean? It was a temporary retirement. It was still retirement. So, and it's not like we're getting paid like that to begin with to be able to sit down for a year. So I was like, shit, I can't get put in this position again, ever. Right? So I was like, the only way I can do that is to create something for myself. And then my mind popped back over to the wings. I was like, oh shit, we can do that. But I knew based off my degree, like I like layering things, so it's not like a one-sided thing. That's how I am as well too, right? It couldn't be just another wing shop because Calgary doesn't even move like that either. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not going to support the random stuff like that. Like if you want really grow in Calgary, it's not going to just you pop up with the name. It's not going to work like that. So I was like, shoot, there has to be a correlation for some within the community. And I was like, damn. The only issue I can see right now, well, there's more issues, but like the only issue like I kind of want to really attack was just the lack of support in the athletic community when it comes to like sports altogether, right? Where it came to like you, and to be honest, bro, you have kids like me, you still in Crescent, bro. Like I see them every day.
1,000%.
You know what I'm saying? Where they have all the gifts. They know like they could be cold if they had the right, you know what I'm saying, the right environment. But you go and talk to them like, yo, what's your GPA, son? But what's a G? How do I even get that? How do I even set my SAT up? What's the clearinghouse? What's your clearinghouse number?
Information, man.
They don't know none of it. You know what I'm saying? They don't know what, I'm saying, they still don't know what JUCO is. They still don't know what NCAA is. They still don't know what NIA is. They don't know any of that stuff. Right? So I'm like, how? Like, how? You know what I mean? Especially cats like me and you that came from one school.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like you want to know. We both pushed it through JUCO and D1 at Crescent. There should be no questions about how this works to keep it a staff.
Yeah.
Right? So what I've kind of come up with the idea is like, yo, people are guarding the information. You have coaches that are guarding the information. That's the only thing that makes sense. Right? People are not trying to tell these kids whether they want them to stay in Calgary or stay in Canada or whatever the case may be. They don't want to tell them the information they need to make the money they need to make or do the things they need to do. Right? So I was like, shoot, we need to attack that as well too. So I paired the restaurant with that. So that's the whole main like objective of the restaurant is to like mentor these kids, to give them, not just like give them, but like show them exactly, yo, this is all y'all have to do. Like, if y'all start just like keeping track and sending out information to coaches and this, like, figure out what your GPA is before grade 10 or grade 11. You know what I'm saying? Getting all your paperwork done before, having your clearinghouse, having all that shit set up. Because at the end of the day, if you have all that set up and you're getting some type of interest from down south, guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna get more interest from up south.
Yeah.
up north.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're going, right? But they don't understand. They don't understand it that way, or no one's trying to explain to them that way.
Which is
Right?
usually the second one.
Exactly. Right. So that's why I'm like, shoot. Since nobody want to tell y'all, man, I'll give it to y'all for free. You know, I'll tell y'all for free.
Man.
Right?
No,
So
go ahead. That's so true.
So that's what I did, was like, even this past year, like I started a program called Free Game. And it was like, we were in Crescent, and I was talking to them about, like, we had like 4 or 5 meetings. It wasn't that many. But next year we're going to probably do a lot more. But it's more like, not just motivating them, but more like showing them, like, that's the roadmap that they can actually do this shit. But it's not as crazy as people make it seem. You know what I mean? Playing D1 and playing football at high level, it is rare. It is rare. Don't get it wrong. Don't get it twisted. You know what I mean? Not everyone can do this, Joker. But in the same sense, a lot of the cats that we played with, a lot of cats I played with got played with because they didn't have the information. Because if they had the information, I promise you, half the cats I played with could have played themselves.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because I killed a shit ton of them.
Yo, me too.
They them out. Right? And the only reason that they didn't know is because obviously fair, and obviously they just didn't know. Right? So, and for whatever reason, like, I don't know if that to be fact, but like I don't see a lot of pro athletes just showing face in Calgary.
Yo, don't get me started on that, yo, because
exactly, yeah. So
again, this is a conversation for another time. So I get exactly what you're saying, but it's absolutely true because, yo, I've been trying to do things in Calgary on a solo with people for quite some time, but for whatever reason, bro, and it also, another thing is, whichever part of the city that you're in, there's another hold on that too, because that's a different thing, man. So, yo, what you're doing with Four Corners, yo, that's beautiful, man. And yo, if I'm in town next time, and when you're in town at the same time, and you're doing it, yo, let's figure out a way how we can both serve Crescent in a different capacity.
Hey, man, facts. Because my whole thing, I ain't gonna cap. Like, one more thing, part of that is like,
go ahead.
I believe in exposure leads expansion. You know what I mean? Like, the more we expose these kids to the fact that they can, like, it's not. I'm literally one of y'all. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know about this shit until like 2 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And like, I figured it out on some BS. Right? There's way more information. It's way easier now. A lot more of us are doing it. Like, that's really another reason why I'm just out there like that. Like, even if I ain't doing shit, but I'd be pulling up to my junior high on some random shit, and they just be geeked out for no reason. I'm like, bro, y'all don't know what the hell I do, bro. Like, y'all don't know me, bro. And these little kids are jumping up and like, no, you know what I'm saying? But like, that's really what it is. It's like, because like you see them random ass kids, it's like, bro, you are me, bro. Like, for real, you are me.
Yo,
I am you. As powerful as I go, I am you. Like, dead ass. So it's like,
I always say, yo, hope needs to be seen and shown. All right. And when you can't touch something, you can't really see it. Man, we're gonna close out with this last question, bro. You know, you 3 years younger than me, so you're 28 now. And first overall pick. You business owner as well too. You have all of the stuff that made you who you are today, yo. You just talked about 2020. Yo, you're in a depressive state. And a lot of people who don't understand, and when an athlete tells certain things, it may seem like, yo, what are you talking about? We should brush that off. Yo, now at this stage in your life, how do you handle pressure? Like, how do you not let the moment get too much into your head where you're swaying and you're sweaving? But how do you quiet your mind and not feed into one emotion over the other? Because if you get stuck into a depressive state of mind, yo, it's hard to get out of that hole. But how do you deal with pressure at this stage in your life?
It's a layer of different things. For one, you have to accept it. Like, you can't just like not accept that this is a real thing happening. You know what I'm saying? Like, I find that if you try to like just push all that down and not accept the moment, you're creating a false a false reality for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit's hard. You're going through some hard shit. Just call a spade, right? So I'm very, very honest with myself when like shit's really serious. I'm like, all right, this. You know what I'm saying? If I'm not trying to talk to nobody, I'm not trying to talk to them. I'm not going to. Right? And then also understanding that you have to be process oriented. Not really, yeah, realistically, you have to be process oriented because, like I said, just not everything's gonna go your way, and everything's gonna be smooth, and everything's gonna be the way you want it to be. Even if you had the best off season in the world, you know what I'm saying? You can have the best off season in the world and get hurt in the one play, and you're done for 6 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And then you're sitting there like, why me? So it's just like you can't. For one, you have to be process oriented. There's like stuff happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was a shit situation. It happened, right? And then after that, you have to like immediately go into how do we get better? You know what I mean? What are the steps to getting better? What are the stages? What are the next steps from here? Wherever you, like that same saying, be where your feet are. I use that joker so much, it's not even funny. And I use it in that depressive state too. It's like, okay, be where your feet are. What all can you like even comprehend right now? That's why I can't talk.
Yeah.
Right? And then not only that, it's like, okay, say if it's an injury, shoot, the swelling's going down now, right? Now we can start doing flexion, right? And then once the flexion gets better, now we can start doing range of motion. Once the range of motion gets better, we can start strengthening it. Once the strengthening starts getting, we start doing change of direction. And then once that gets better, we can start really pushing that joke, right? So it's just like, I use the same process in like with myself. It's just like when stuff starts getting really hard, really difficult, there's no pausing, you know, or if you're in the middle of a game and you just got beat, like there's no pausing, getting stuck on the play. However, you have to really almost do like a self-film session. I do a self-film session in my head.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I think about it. It won't be the main thing on my head because we keep moving and we're moving forward. But as soon as we get to the bench, that one crazy play, I'm gonna think about it. What really happened? Did I overpunch? Did I overstep? It's simple, not in depth. Not I need to go see the film to break this down. Like rah rah rah. It's more like your emotions still have to be in check, right? But it has to be a logical check, and you have to make sure that you're getting all the information out, right? You can't get information out if you're in an emotional state. So that's always the main thing for me, right? Is just making sure I can get information, whether it's from the coach or I'm thinking about myself or from my players or guys around me like, yo, you didn't kick that last step or you didn't come far enough. I'm here to receive the information, right?
Mm-hmm.
So once I get the information, it just goes into like problem solving mode where it's like slow baby steps. You know what I'm saying? I'm not looking to overstep and miss something that I should have got. I'm just looking to keep making this process. And once you do that enough times, you really become process oriented. You know what I'm saying? And it becomes more of a routine now. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not, you're not thinking about it anymore. It's like, shit, that didn't feel right. I need to just, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm out of there. Like, I'm not mad. You can come talk to me, but like, I need to decompress, right, from this to keep moving forward at the level I want to move at, right? And I do the same thing with football too, high key. Like after practices, like I'll go watch film on the solo. I won't watch it with the guys or everyone because like I'm a lot more meticulous with what I'm looking at. Like I like talking to myself too, like it's going through in my head. And then once I go through it, I have an understanding for myself. Then I go chop it up with the guys. Like this is what I'm thinking. This is what I thought happened. What'd you see? You know what I'm saying? Or like hear from coach, and that's where it's like I'm not mad that I screwed up. I tell people all the time, I'm not mad that I get messed. In a game, different situation. Game, we hitting on 100, but in practice, you know what I'm saying? Like I'll mess up. I don't care for that. You know what I'm saying? If I try a new technique, I'll try any of that stuff. But if you're not really honest with yourself, what's happening, why you messed up, you know what I'm saying? Why it happened to you, and just taking ownership of that you screwed up to make this shit happen. You know what I mean? Whether it be good or bad, that it was really on you to do that. Like, you get through those moments, those depressive moments, way faster, because you can accept everything for your own, and you start getting more process oriented a lot faster after that acceptance.
Yo, it's always interesting hearing people's perspective on how they deal with certain things, bro, because you and me think the same in a lot of different ways, man. So I definitely relate to it. Man, what's the best way for people to keep in touch, man, to show support? Definitely Four Corners as well too, moving forward, man, because as you talk about exposure, man, you know what I'm saying? So what's the best ways to follow your journey? What platforms you on the most?
I mean, we're on IG, Facebook, and Twitter, the main three. As far as me, I'm at SR4 Shane on Instagram. For the restaurant, Four Corners Wingstop, Four Corners YYC. That's where we're at. You know what I'm saying? And then
clothing.
You know what I mean? I'm picking it up. But it's a whole branding. This season I'm in right now is all branding right now. And then also we're dropping this Hot 55. It's my hot sauce brand as well too. I make my own hot sauce. What that joke at? Yeah. See what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Hey. And if you know anything about Jamaicans, you will like the spice.
Listen, man. Like 6 different peppers in that joker, man. Vinegar base. That joker will stay forever. It's great shelf life. But like that's my whole gig right now is wings, Top 55, and it's like Four Corners and free game. Just trying to push that. I ain't gonna lie. Me and football, we're great. You know what I'm saying? I won't say we're great. We're doing good. We're doing better. We're making our improvements. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? I gotta make sure I never get put in that last position again. So,
bro, appreciate your time, man. As I said, bro, I've been watching from afar, man. I've been seeing what you're doing, bro, and to hear from where you are, to see where you are now, bro. I don't think, and you'll understand as you get older, bro. But you're very intuitive, man. There's certain things in life that when we look back at it, we see parts of it that we're like, yo, that wasn't supposed to happen, but it's here. You know what I'm saying? So, yo, stay healthy, bro. Hey, defending champions, you got a target on your back. But whenever we're in town next at the same time, man, yo, whatever you need from me, whatever I can do to help, it's always, always, always love, bro. So again, bro, appreciate your time, man. Enjoy the rest of the day. And it's love, bro.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate having me on, bro. And like I said, I've been seeing your face since I was going through high school. I heard people talking. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. So bro, like you been a big bro. In the shadows before you even know, before you even knew it. So I appreciate you and what you're doing as well too, bro. Like I said, there's not a lot of people that could make it. Not I won't say make it through, but do what we did with what we had. And still doing what we are doing with what we have into something else. You know what I'm saying? So much respect to you too, my boy.
Yo, the next event I put on, yo, I'm gonna put you on to share your story, bro, because there's a lot more we could have touched on that we'll have to say for another day.
Trust me, bro. You even talking about we even got to my degree yet, my boy. Hey, this is what I do.
Part 2 down the road, bro. But hey, enjoy the day, man. And I'm here if anything, and I truly mean that, bro. Anything you need, don't hesitate to reach out. It's always love, bro. And I mean that 1,000%.
Appreciate you, big dog.
All right, bro. Love.